Councilor Hoskin, would you offer the invocation?
Let's bow our heads. Lord, thank you once again for this opportunity to come together and do the work of the Cherokee people. As we do that work, help us remember the least among us and help us bring peace to this troubled world. Amen.
Next we have roll call.
Julia Coates. Here. John Garvin. Bill England.
Here.
Bill John Baker. Jack Baker.
Here.
Harley Buzzard.
Here.
Bradley Cobb. Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Jody Fishinghawk.
Here.
Meredith Rayleigh. Janelle Fulbright. Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Here.
Tina Glory Jordan.
Present.
Curtis Snell. Chris Soap.
Here.
David Thornton. Kara Cowan Watts.
Honey.
Quorum.
Next we have approval of the minutes, and I'd entertain a motion to approve the October 11th. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And we will move to reports, and we have career services, and Ms. Kelly is still
How are y'all doing?
indisposed.
All right, for the vocational portion, we have a new initiative kind of went out with between us and higher ed. They've started the resource center there at the tribal complex. We're kind of partnering with them. We're going to be going to all the high schools in February. We've also set up one-stop resource shops in all the field offices. So if y'all may come across any new resourceful information that can be used to help any of your constituents or future participants, don't hesitate to bring it by the field offices. We have areas set up, little binders for books for social service needs, employment needs, training needs, anything that could be helpful, so when they come in, they feel like they're getting served in some capacity. The Adult Literacy Center, they're working on getting the GEDs with students. Lander Alberti is to expand the testing through work keys. The adult ed teachers will serve as an extension in the external offices as well. And we'll also be providing the life skills classes for our clients. Voc Rehab staff, we're in a meeting last week to become certified life skills instructors. Amy Hamby, Tanya Hudson, along with Dennis Carter, with OJT, and Kelly Forrest, who heads up the life skills classes. Councilman Baker was on hand in Oklahoma City to receive an award for Chad Smith at the state capitol regarding the workforce this past year. Talking Leaves has been extremely busy with the holidays. Several programs are utilizing their facilities. Students being called to help with various civic activities in the community. There will be several of them in the local Christmas parade. Ramona Holt, the academic director, is working with Dr. Sue Ellen Reed, Dr. Ada Woody on the International Learning Styles Conference, which will be in July at the Broken Arrow NSU campus, and the host hotel is the Hard Rock Casino. The Job Corps office has moved, and they are currently at Classen, backed by the state capitol. J.T. Patrick, with help, will also be sharing space with them. The students leave to go home for winter break Friday, December 17th, and will return January 3rd, 2011. Andrea Barkley, who currently works for public relations, come on board with Talking Leaf Job Corps as the business community liaison. We're very pleased to have her. Job Corps will host a Christmas open house, and invitations will be coming out soon.
Councilor Watts?
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to Diane for the one-stop shop solution. I think that's excellent. And also particularly thank you for George Roach and Rob Doherty and Tim Carroll at NCAI. They did an excellent job, and if you'd pass that on to her, I appreciate it, Carol.
I'm not going to tell Rob. I'll tell Kim and everybody.
Fair enough. thanks
bet.
to her. Thank
You bet.
Are there any other questions? Okay, great.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good Thanksgiving.
Next, we have the group leaders report. Mr. Bunch, are you here for this night? Okay.
Good afternoon. I believe you have our report, and I'll be glad to answer any questions, but I do have a couple of other announcements to make. During the last meeting, Councilor Baker asked me to check on the Chiefs markers. So I got with Dr. Sly and Bill Ando, who's now over Cultural Resource Center, to follow up with that, and I found out that we do have 7 markers placed with 4 still to go, and we're having to do some research to find out exactly where those should be placed. I don't know if I don't believe that we've ordered any of the historical markers, and I think that's what you're talking about for the entrances.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll still work on that, and it's kind of a work in progress. Yes.
Councilor Watts.
Okay, thank you. So that was one of my questions, because if I remember right, the intent was we were going to have actual ceremonies and we would notify the families. So that's still the intent and still the
Yes.
plan.
And I've also spoke with Gail Ross, and she's very interested in helping to do any of the planning for that process.
Okay, because there's a number of them, and I have a number of questions. Thank you for the 40 kids that were at the National ACES conference. That was outstanding. And I need the information on the January 22nd Cherokee Nation Science and Engineering Fair via email.
Okay, I'll ask Daniel about that.
I sent it through Diana Turtle, but I didn't know if he was back yet or not. And then there was a couple of questions on the report. So do we know what % of the graduate or the undergraduates and graduates, when we start funding them, who actually completes, whether we fund them all the way through or not? What is our retention and graduation rate, I guess, on scholarships?
Currently, we have honestly not done a good job of tracking that. We're hoping to get some sort of a tracking mechanism in place. Really, about the only thing that we can tell is whether they reapply or not. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have dropped out of college. It could mean that maybe they're no longer seeking our scholarship.
Right. Okay. What is EE leadership?
EE leadership.
It's in the report, but it didn't explain what EE was.
What page?
Educational emergency. Educational emergency.
EE.
It's on page 7 of our stuff, and it's on Greg's Education College Resources, A, Balanced Scorecard Measures, 3 program graduates through summer 2010. It says EE leadership equals 1.
Jennifer, is that something to do with employees?
It's the employee workers that we have for those that have started a program, but were unable to complete, and then they have selected to return back to school.
Okay, what's Cherokee Promise?
The Cherokee Promise, as you'll recall, was something similar in the past as Oklahoma's Promise, I believe.
I thought it was I thought that's Cherokee Scholars, and when that's what we had named it, I thought so. I didn't think it was the same as Cherokee Scholars.
Cherokee Promise is the partnership with Human Services to provide housing and the scholarship package.
The Human Services offers a package for residential assistance, and that is the package that combines our scholarship with their residential part.
Okay, so that's different than the housing rental assistance for dorms?
I don't know if it's necessarily different. It's just a
Because I was not
combined
aware of it
package.
until
It's on a
now.
package deal. They get a education scholarship and they get a housing.
How do we determine, I mean, do they apply for this, or do we just seek them out? I mean, like, how do they get to that? Because I didn't know about
We're
this.
partnering together.
And they have to meet all
Can you
the
email-
qualifications on both sides.
Can you email more information on that
Yes,
then?
we can. And their deadline's just a little bit past our deadline this year, I believe. But
And on directed studies, are we looking, I mean, we asked during budget hearings about directed studies being expanded to meet our healthcare workforce needs. where are we at with that? Because, I mean, the number being reported is minimal, and I think not all those are nursing or doctors.
If you don't mind, I would like to defer that question until the
Get a
December.
report on
Yes,
it?
we can.
Okay.
I also know that Ms. Knight wants to specifically address anything with the College Resource Center and the policies next month's
Okay,
meeting.
can you add that to the list? I have
Certainly.
2 more questions, I'm hurrying. So what is this partnership between JOM and Bacone?
Where does that
It's in the
say on there?
JOM report. We're funding a Bacone staff person, or we're having some partnership with them?
I believe we have a contract with Bacone, Jennifer.
Can I get clarification
Okay, I'll
on
have
that
to get
next
clarification
month?
on that. I
Actually,
apologize.
Or you might, it's fine.
Mhm.
And then, I'm still concerned, I thought we'd addressed that the ACT score being an average of 19 at Sequoia
Mhm.
was because there was the younger kids, the students in it, but apparently not. It still remained at 19. So if we're increasing art classes and some of the other things, which I'm not saying we shouldn't have and we don't need those at that number. I'm not saying take away from art. But where are we at for college prep so that that actually is higher? Because we can't send them to NSU and make that our solution, because we will continue to have low ACT scores if it's not a high school, college prep course.
Agreed.
So where are we at?
We-
Because we've increased art, we've actually funding it, but why aren't we? I'm frustrated. Sorry.
Well, I can forward you some things from Mrs. Bunch, our superintendent there, but we are aware of that score, and we are taking hopefully several steps to address that by also improving our science and math. We've added some great personnel this school year, and I'm looking forward to.
Just one last thing. Maybe not December, because it sounds like December is already a lot. But in January, can we get that strategic plan on how we're going to address that average ACT score?
Okay, certainly.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Hoskins.
No problem.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The housing assistance, so if you're a Cherokee who didn't get the scholarship, didn't apply for the scholarship, you will not get any housing assistance through that program. Is that correct?
Our scholarship deadline was before the housing scholarship, so I think what happened was if they did not apply in time for our scholarship and weren't funded, then they still had the option to apply for the one with the housing on.
I see. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Councilor Fisher.
Council Baker, Bill John, asked a couple of months ago, and maybe I missed hearing the answer, I just now thought about it. The question that he had asked was, if we use motor fuel tax dollars to fund at-large citizens, are we in violation of the compact with the state of Oklahoma? And Bill John, did you ever get an answer? Because I haven't heard one in this committee.
Okay, I will follow up with that. Was that in a previous?
Yeah, it was a couple months ago.
Okay.
The
Wasn't
other
aware of
thing
that
is, I had requested a year ago, there's a cemetery right before you go into Sallyville Hollow down in Adair County on the right. It's out in the field. There probably ain't a handful of people know about it. And I asked if you all would go out there and look at it and do something about it, and I don't know if it's been done yet.
Okay.
Could you please check on that for me?
Yes.
Okay, and the third thing is during budget hearings, I had asked Melanie Knight about the CHIPS program, Cherokee's Helping Initiate Progress, and she said they was phasing it out, and I had requested that she contact the people that was on contract with us to tell them that they would no longer have a job. As a matter of fact, it was a really big discussion in here, and she assured me in front of this committee she would call them. I will call them. I will have somebody call every one of them, and we will tell them they don't expect another contract or a job. Yesterday, I got a phone call, and if the phone call was right, she lied to me, because they was not contacted. So would you please ask Melanie to get with me on that, because I'm very upset if that's the truth.
Certainly will.
Okay? Okay, thank you very much, Corey.
I have a couple of more announcements.
We've got a couple more questions here.
Okay.
First, Councilor Anglin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Darryl, would you check with, I talked to a couple of board members, I met one this morning on the Hillside Cemetery on Chief Rogers Road. They're getting ready to do a memorial for the veterans there, and they said nobody had contacted them from the Cherokee Nation yet on this historic marker that we're wanting to put up.
Okay, and where was that again?
Hillside Cemetery.
Hillside.
Where Chief Rogers is buried.
Okay.
And so they'd like to kind of coordinate all that with this initiative on the memorial, with the historical marker.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Counselor Garvin?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. We're getting close to the end of the semester, and I was curious about the freshmen. Is there any way to check on their grades now and kind of advise them to get with it and get some better grades or anything like that?
Well, again, we've got several things in mind, working with all of our students, but currently we have no reporting system from the universities because of the confidentiality.
But it would be good if we had a report to advise these students at this point. They get a midterm grade, don't they, students? Is there any way that we could get that reported to the Cherokee Nation from all the schools?
I don't know if we can get that report currently, but I'll check on it.
I think it'd be good if we knew that. And I'm concerned about the freshmen, but
Freshman certainly has the highest dropout rate.
thank you very much.
And you had some additional things? Oh, I'll take one more from Counselor Gordon.
Corey, is your department the one that did this survey, or is that another department?
I believe that may be taught in those surveys.
The next one? Okay, thank you.
The last one today, yes.
Just a couple other quick comments. The motor vehicle grant that you guys established, I think we've had 18 submittals as of today and expecting probably a few more throughout this week. And that's for the car tag grant, basically. So 18 as of today, and we'll let you know more about that soon. One other thing, during the last Oklahoma legislative session, Indian Advisory Committee was established to report on Oklahoma's public schools with Indian education, and I just wanted to announce that I was recently appointed to that commission. So if you have any input or concerns that you'd like to pass on from your local public school districts to me, I would be glad to present those at the committee meetings in the future. We'll meet quarterly for the next few years, and we will be reporting to the Oklahoma State School Superintendent and also to the Oklahoma School Board.
Mr. Buzzer.
When will the application for the motor vehicle tag amendment be done for?
The application deadline was this past Friday, the 19th, and we'll be reviewing those soon. I think we're planning on making awards in January.
Yeah, one thing, Corey, that's being talked about right now at the state level, I believe, is school consolidation. And I'm just kind of curious as to whether or not we're going to have an opinion on that and who's going to be in charge of figuring that opinion out. Do you have any feedback at this point in time right now? Or?
I don't have any feedback on that situation right now, but I'd like to discuss that with Ms. Knight soon. I believe it's very important to keep our rural schools going because that's where the language and the culture is most alive. So that's my opinion for now. But it's a formal position. We do not have that at this time.
Are there any questions? Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Head Start. Ms. Thompson?
Hello, it's been a while. How's everybody?
Good.
I'm here to answer any questions that you might have over the report.
Counselor Jordan.
Verna, could you go ahead and give us an update on your program, because we've not seen you in a couple of months, about like how many students and what kind of money you're getting and whether you're going to be able to stretch it for a year, and how the audit went that we just went through.
Okay.
Just give us an update.
I'll start with the audit since it just ended on Friday. I think there's always some degree of anxiety, but mostly anticipation for all the validation that takes place through the review. And we had 9 reviewers from all over the country, and by all accounts, which is really unofficial, we have to wait 45 to 60 days for a report on on the results. So we want to think positive, and if things were bad, I think they would have told us that on site. We didn't hear anything except for one thing in one of the public schools, and the superintendent addressed it immediately. Seems there were some vandals on the playground the night before the review team went there, and they cleaned it up immediately, and that's what the superintendent documented, was that their maintenance crew gives it immediate attention if it endangers the health and safety of the children. So I think they were real satisfied with that piece of it. But we're rolling right along with our Head Start, 680 children, and 162 previous early Head Start slots, in addition to the 48 expansion slots we secured through ARA funding, and that will go through September 30th, 2011. And after that, you know how that's kind of up in the air. We're still waiting. We got our award letter through that time period, and I think everybody in the country is waiting to hear if they get additional funding beyond that date. But basically, that's the report on ECU.
Do you suspect that we may see a reduction in funding in 11?
That's hard to know. We went without the cost of living allowance for several years, and that's always up in the air. That's the only area that would probably be at risk.
And you're still funded at only 80% of your need?
Mm-hmm. Always, just 80%. And I'd like to say during the review last week that all the departments were our champions as far as accounting, HR, and procurement. They really made us look good. They all did a real fine job. We were proud to work with them. And we plan to have a follow-up meeting with them just as we did previous to the review, and everybody pulled through. We all worked together very well. And thank you all for your interview with the team.
Thank you.
Is this an annual audit?
No, it's every 3 years.
Oh, okay.
And it's we have already begun preparation for the next one. That's how detailed they are. I think that's going to be our new mantra, is pay attention to every detail. You can't be detailed enough.
So you just kind of went over what they did audit for then?
Yes, they audit the facilities, training, staff credentials, hiring process, just every piece of it. The background checks of all of our employees, all of that, and all the questions that they ask. There's around 2,000 questions per site, not for the program, but per site. So we have to be accountable for all of our sites. We're real pleased.
In the fall, did they go out and look at any of our community sites?
Yes.
They did?
Yes.
How many did they pick to look at?
I think they went to all but a dozen. They went to Jay, and Stillwell. They went to Marietta Public School, because we also report on our partnering schools. So they went to Marietta.
Okay. Thank you.
Others?
Thank you.
Ms. Thompson, it came up in the meeting last month that perhaps it would be more feasible for you to report on a quarterly basis rather than to have you on a monthly basis here. Would that be agreeable to you? Or
whatever pleases you.
Do it that way instead?
I'd just bring up a point. Actually, it's better for her audit if she's left on here on a monthly basis, as I understand it. Because that's one of the audit features.
All right. Well, then we would request that you are actually here on a monthly basis. Then, if we're going to leave it at a monthly, if that's necessary to do that.
And that was one of the questions in the audit, was
okay.
the interaction with the council.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Next, we have a new group leadership. Todd Enlow, group leader.
Good afternoon. I hope you guys all received the report. Here to answer any questions related to that and share one or two announcements as well.
Are there questions? Councilor Sawyer.
Yeah, Todd, I think that there was a reference to the report earlier at the back of the education report. Can you explain this draft to us?
Is that the engagement survey?
Yeah.
That is something that we've been doing with our employees over the last couple of months, and it's measuring employee engagement. How well do they feel supported? How well connected do they feel to the organization and the overall mission? And this follows a lot of the Gallup employee engagement methodology, and it parallels what C&E does and C&B does with their employees. But basically, overall, our average engagement score, basically, we ask a series of questions, 12 questions. There's strongly disagree, agree, and strongly agree. So there was no neutral, and so we're trying to measure positive and negative responses. And so we have an 87% engagement, or 87% of the responses were positive overall. So at the point when we submitted this report, we had surveyed 871 out of 1,800 employees. Response rate from the surveys we sent out, we had 86% response rate. And so indication is our engagement is really high, much better than I expected, better than even the national average. The lowest scores, you can see there, the questions, I'm satisfied with the recognition and praise I do for great work. Question 2, which is I have an opportunity to learn new skills. And question 4 is I have the resources I need to do my job effectively. So we are sitting down with each individual group because each response was a little different from each group. So we're sitting down working with action plans to try and make our scores even better. But the 87% response, positive response, is actually much better than we expected when we started this process.
What about question 11? That's pretty tell all.
Yeah, the Cherokee Nation's a great place to work. And
95%. That's pretty
95%, yeah. And we're also doing an onboarding survey where and we'll have more information out about this at the next meeting. We are interviewing our employees that have been on board within the last 6 months, asking them what the first couple of days or weeks were, what their experience was as they came in and became a member of the team. And the responses from that also parallel what we found out with the engagement survey. So very pleased with the responses so far. Yes, ma'am.
Is that it, Councilor Self?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Councilor Fishing Hawk.
I pass.
Councilor Watts.
Thank you. I tried to read it a couple of times and I found it kind of a little bit confusing. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it was I look at the design of it differently. I guess let's start over. How are you going to use this? I mean, are we really using this to seriously look at the workforce? And did you have somebody that designed?
A survey that we did 10 years ago.
Okay.
We tried to design something that was quick and easy to respond to, so there weren't a tremendous amount of questions. That's why there are only 12 questions. But we're actually using this as a trigger for us to go in and look at other things. Okay. For example, in my group, when we completed the survey response, ours do not line up with the rest of the organization. And so we are working with each group to drill down and see if it's a process or a system, the team, the way it's organized, communication. And so it's a trigger for us to go in and start to work and delve in. So it's not the end-all, be-all. It's a place for us to get a measure of what things we're doing the best and what we're not doing so well at. And so we can go in and try and figure out how to figure out what we can do to make this environment even better.
That's very helpful. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councilor Moskin.
These were anonymous surveys, web-based, I think.
Yeah, we had, for those employees that don't have everyday access to email, in fact, I'd like to brag on one of our employees, Kayleen Bolin, went out in the communities on the side of the road when guys are on construction projects, sit down with them, let them take the surveys, fold them up, stick them in an envelope, and so everything was completely anonymous, even if it was online or paper-based.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councilor Anglin.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Todd, on the district choir initiative, in your report, you had like an alternative for Tulsa.
Yeah.
What is that alternative?
Well, basically, that was an oversight when we developed the list. We were trying to look at areas where we had high population concentration and where we had youth choir alumni members that would be easily accessible so that, we could pull from a talent pool to go work in Tulsa or Rogers or Washington County. And so Mary Kay and Kathy and I have been talking about what we can possibly do. And I'd like to sit down with you and Ms. Watts and Brad and see what you guys would like to see and how we can move forward with that.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Jordan.
Yes, Todd, would you mind emailing us a breakdown of this survey by department?
Sure.
How each department responded to each of these questions, and just email it to all of the council. And then, do you have any idea why almost 55% didn't respond? If you have
Our response rate is 86%, so only about 14% did not respond.
I thought you said you got 800 and some responses.
Yeah, that was at the point. So
Out of
we were still in.
1,800.
Yeah, we were still in process. The reason 1,800 is every year Health does a survey that parallels this survey anyway for part of their accreditation. So rather than asking Health to fill out another survey that they've already responded to, we are going to fold in their responses and match them up to the responses we have here.
So you can provide us Health's breakdown.
Yeah. I think Health's, this is off the top of my head, Health's responses to their engagement survey is right in line with what we're seeing overall.
But you can break it down by department, by each question.
Well, we surveyed by group, and so health, human services, education, we can break down by that, but I can't break it down into ICW inside human services. I can tell you the overall group. And that was part of the anonymity that we wanted to make sure.
So you can send it to us by group then?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And if you just send it after this meeting, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Councilor Buzzer.
Todd, I don't know if this could be worked into the survey. It may take some work to do it, but I'd like to see some way on exit interviews. I know this has been brought up to Human Resources before. I'd be curious to know why some of our employees leave. I see on this one, on 12, that's a good place, the best place to work, but you still have employees leaving. And I don't know if that's something you can capture, but that would be interesting to see. The other thing, and I don't know if this can be done or not either, but I just hear of I say a few people that have master's degrees, have bachelor's degrees, they put in for a job here at the nation, never get called for an interview, never. And I don't know how you would capture that stuff, but I hear that quite often. I've got degrees here, and I've got a master's, I've got a bachelor's here, and they think they qualify for the job or job description, but they never get called up. And I don't know, this is not your field. I know it's over into HR. I just hear that a lot. I don't know if any other counselors hear that a lot, but I hear that quite a bit. And I'd be interesting to see if you can capture the exit interview for sure.
Yeah, that is one thing. Since we're interviewing people as they come in, we want to make sure we have a good experience all the way through. And obviously, if we're making mistakes, try and learn from those. So that's something we're looking at. We haven't started anything on that at this point, but definitely something we can fold into the mix.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Watts.
I'm going to pass. Thank you.
Councilor Fishinghawk.
Yeah, Harley brought up something. Do we do exit interviews?
I would have to defer to HR on what type of exit interviews we do. I know we've done.
You saying yes, we do. Could you find out what the top reasons are people's leaving? I'm kind of curious.
Sure. Yeah.
for budget.
Are there other questions?
Okay.
Very nice report.
A couple of quick announcements. With the Youth Council, this last weekend they had an initiative called Stuff the Truck, and they were trying to stuff the truck full of supplies and food for the Help and Crisis Center again this year. Last year we collected about 150 pounds of canned foods for the Help and Crisis Center. They also are going to work on Wednesday of this week. They'll be parked out in front of, I believe it's Reeser's, this Wednesday. So far they've collected 342 items and another $250 worth of cash to go towards helping the Help and Crisis Center. So I wanted to brag on our Youth Council for their initiative. And then the other thing is next month I would like to report out on our selection for our new Youth Council body as well. So I'd like to thank Speaker Fraley. She assisted in the review of the applicants, provided some input, and we will have a new Youth Council seated in January. So I wanted to make you aware of that. Okay.
Mr. Enlow, I think it was our understanding that leadership was going to report on a quarterly basis. Would you prefer to report on a monthly basis then?
Oh, yeah, I can report on a monthly basis. Love to.
Okay.
With the Youth Council, we try to have them report out before this body in the Rules Committee meeting and report on a quarterly basis, but because their work and the time is not as frequent as mine is and the rest of our group. So
We'll hear from you monthly then.
Okay.
Look forward to it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
We move on to old business. There is none pending. There is no business pending under new business either. And so next we move to announcements, and administration has asked me to remind everyone that at 5 p.m. today, or Paula, would you like to?
I have handouts, the executive legislative conference at 5 o'clock with the principal chief. He thought the Supreme Court's decision you all might like to discuss that, so we put that for an item to be discussed. If you have other items, happy to discuss those as well. Hope to see you all there at 5 o'clock.
Are there other announcements? Councilor Gardner?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.